Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Ball Watching. We are back with you all live for a preview. Justin, our first dedicated preview of the 2024 season here at Ball Watching. And I'm glad, I'm really happy to actually just spend some time just breaking down a matchup because this is one we have quite a bit of history on and a bit of fond history for all of you St. Louis City fans. So, Justin, how are we feeling today on Wednesday, time of recording, heading into the match day?
Feeling good. I wish we were back down there, Jake. Jake and I went to the first ever game. We're playing in a little guys trip and ended up being on the exact same weekend that City was down in Austin. That was awesome. Yeah, we do have some history with these guys. I think it was when I was going back and looking at the two games last year, obviously we remember the one being at where we were at, and I was like, oh my God, the second game was insane.
It was. And it was just so funny because I think we prepped for that game. I remember doing the show and being pretty nervous about Austin. They were a big contender the year before, and I think they had pretty much equal expectations heading into 2023 season, but it was not to be. Austin in their sophomore season is what everything that we hope to avoid in our sophomore season. But it was a fun game to be at, Justin. I mean, one of the most fond memories, and especially our first game and the magic. We'll talk a little bit about it here as we get into the Austin matchup itself. But Justin, before we get into it, I got a good five-a-side for you today. And we're just saying five-a-side. There's no fives anymore. It's just something fun to start it off with. And I think you all enjoy this too. But Justin, your heart and soul of the team, heart and soul juice of the team last match was Celio Pompeo, your guy. How much do you know about Celio Pompeo? So we're going to go up 4 questions here, Justin, in ascending order in terms of difficulty here. So first question, what nationality is Celio?
Brazilian. Thank you.
All right, here we go. We got to get a little ding buzzer on here. There's one for you. All right, yep. Justin, was he born before or after January 1st of 2000? Was he born as part of this millennia or the one prior where you and I were born?
He was born before.
He was born before. He was born 21 days before. On December 10th. So he is 24 years old.
All right.
Still a young player. Okay, Justin, where did he go to college?
I knew this one was coming when you asked me this, and I knew this.
You know this school. You know this school very well because of where you went to school. Little hint there.
Oh boy, I hate this.
All right, let me be more specific.
Oh, did he go to oh my God, it's an A10 school. It's an A10 school. Oh, the Bonnies. Did you go to St. Bonaventure?
No.
Duquesne?
No, he went to VCU.
Damn it.
VCU. And final question, Justin. Goal contributions during the MLS regular season last year. How many did Celio have? He played just under 1,000 minutes last year in the MLS regular season.
So that's
goals and assists.
11 games. Yep. I'm going to give him 4.
1.
He had one last year.
He had 1, and it was a goal last season during the regular season. He had a goal as well in the playoffs, which is probably maybe why you thought that. But he also had 3 assists in the U.S. Open Cup, but only 1 goal contribution total in the entire regular season, which shocked me as well when I was digging this up today.
I mean, it's just going to prove to be even better of a glow up for him when it looks at stats. He doesn't need a glow up looks wise. He doesn't need a glow up personality wise. Stats wise, he's going to blow out of the water this year.
100%. But that was shocking, man. He's already equaled that tally this year in 2 games.
I absolutely love it. We're having a Tim Parker year out of him.
Yes, we are. So, Justin, that was 5 aside. Get to know Celio Pompeo. We'll do some more stuff like that. Hopefully you all learned a little something there. But quick news to get into last game. Oh, yeah, Celio had 2 goal contributions last game. Kevin with the correction there. The assist as well. I forgot about that. So 2 already doubling his tally from an entire 1,000 minutes last year. So hats off to Celio. But quick news, Justin, before we get into the actual preview itself, Caden Glover in the news. Usually he is like our 3rd highest favorited goal scorer, according to DraftKings and most books that you see. Has not seen the field yet for us. I don't even think he's made an 18 yet for us, but he has been called into the U.S. Youth National Team U17 camp in Florida. That will be happening through the middle of March. So hats off to him. That's an awesome accomplishment. I remember that U17 camp that had, your Pulisic, your Reyna, had just most of the guys that are playing on our national team now were all together at that age. So it's a big thing to be involved in a group like that.
Was Hackworth the coach of those guys?
Yes.
Why am I putting this together? Yeah.
Yep.
Hackworth coached Pulisic, ran all those guys when they're in the U17. That's an awesome call up for Caden. I love Caden, but if someone can find me a book for someone not to score a goal, I will bet on Caden Glover because he usually isn't in the stadium. So please, our DMs are open.
Absolutely. Justin, match day 3, which they're calling this match day 3, by the way, this past match day, because they literally treated the Miami RSL game, that first game, at the midweek game, as match day 1. And then everything else after was match day 2, which I think is so weird. But they're doing that. And Celio made match day 3 team of the week, and Nilsson made it on the bench. So good to see the boys get some inclusion in with some big names. Obviously, Suarez and Messi were heading that team. So it was really cool to see them on there, especially for a guy like Celio, considering his story. So I pumped for him. The club came in at number 12 in the MLS Power Rankings this past week. I think it's a pretty fair for where we're at right now in the season, and still dealing with some injuries, Justin. It's the early part of the season, but unfortunately you've gotten bitten by the injury bug with Kyle Hebert, Rasmus Alm. Alm's obviously been gone for quite a while, but both of them, it seems like, are progressing quite well. I've heard through Carnell, in some of his commentary after practice this week, that he could be back. Alm could be back by the Galaxy, which is next weekend, which would be phenomenal. I would love to see that. You're not going to just throw him in, of course, but love to see some minutes there. We are still dealing with Yarrow and Blum with some injuries that they both have. Yarrow's hamstring, Blum with a knee issue. They're working separately on rehabilitating there. So it's interesting. Very early in the season, but already some early injuries, hoping to get those cleaned up and get the guys all back to health.
Yeah, I would say on those, especially with the Alm one, let's take it easy. We've seen this before where we've had injuries and tried to rush them back and not even onto the playing field, but in practice, and then they are elongated. And that's not something that I ever want to see again with this team. So let's take it easy with this guys. Long season, long year. We'll get them there. But Jake, let's get into what we're actually here to talk about today. Finally, like you said, an episode where we can just do a preview and kind of exhale and not have to do a recap and a preview at the same time, get all the sponsors in, all that. Now we just get to focus on Austin.
We do. And Austin was a big focus for us last year, considering the goal output in these games. But our first ever game as a club in the MLS regular season came against Austin. In Austin, boys were there. And it was a blast of a game. 3-2 comeback W for City. Tim Parker got the club's first ever MLS level goal, which was awesome. He celebrated with the baby Sally for Rory, who was soon to be born. It was just an awesome time, especially in the way we won, coming back from down and everyone having counted us out already. It was electric. The atmosphere was great. The fans were shot after that game.
Walking out of there, Jake, it was actually an incredible atmosphere, like you said, in the stadium and everything, the lights. It was everything that I was expecting in MLS. And then we came home and Matt Seabeth blew that out of the water even. But that game was just absolutely absurd with Parker's goal. Then we give up a goal like we have. It was like almost like a foreshadowing the entire season. Give up a goal to Drusy, 45th plus 4 minutes right at the end of the half. We go down again, or then we go down 2-1 in the 72nd. Then the one that really hurts me, and I don't even really want to talk about it, I'll blow right through it. Kip Keller give away to Stroud, and that's what ties it up.
Yeah, and it was a shaky ending too. I remember they rung the crossbar with a header like the 90+5, and we were like, oh, I would have taken the draw, but then that fashion would have been pretty tough. But we came out with a W. It was huge, and then we dished them the same treatment, but much worse when we got home, and then a thrashing 6-3. Everyone and their mother scored a goal that day. It was so much fun. I remember celebrating, and then every time I went to go sit down, we were on the board again. It was such a fun game. Obviously, 9 goals in this one. So this fixture between us and them has fireworks when you look at it.
Yeah, not only that, Jake, but in the 9-1, well, shout out to Will Bruin for his homecoming, had a goal in the 87th to make it 4-2. This game ended 6-3. That was in the 87th minute. A minute later, Ostrak scores in the 88th to make it 5-2. We give up one in the 90th +1 to make it 5-3, and then Sam puts it away in the 90th +5 to make it 6-3.
And what has Austin done since then? For me, I did some digging, not much. And considering their season last season, I think it's probably a disappointment to a lot of Austin FC fans. But they brought in Diego Rubio, who's a pretty, tried and true classic MLS striker. 56 goals, 34 assists from his time at the Rapids and Sporting Kansas City. They also brought in Brennan Hines-Ike as some center back depth. I think he's actually hurt right now from DC United. And they sent out Nick Lima, who spent 7 seasons so far in the MLS. So he's staying in MLS, but no longer with Austin FC. No Jake, other notables. Yeah.
You left out a massive notable, Mr. Kip Keller.
That's true. Well, he's in a better place now.
He's in a way better place. Shout out to Kip Keller. Went to St. Louis University, was drafted by Austin. Unfortunately, had that pass to Stroud. Fortunate for City, unfortunate for us knowing Kip. But now he's over at Cincinnati, and he started at center back.
I don't think that's going to be a regular, unfortunately, because they were missing Matt Miazga for that stupid suspension. But still great for him. I mean, that's an elevated team to go to, and clearly, Pat Noonan and staff all wanted him and appreciated his talent. So I love where he's landed. You probably don't love where Austin landed last season. If you're an Austin FC fan, they landed the 12 seed, going 10, 15, and 19 win-loss draw with 39 points in the West. Missed the wild card by 5 points. It was an ugly season all around for them. They went 7-6-4 at home, 3-9-5 away. Goals for at 49, goals against at 55. This season, results aren't looking that much better. Unfortunately, Justin, how have they fared in their first two?
So first game, Minnesota United, home opener again. Place was rocking. They were down 2-0 all the way into like the 90th +4 minute when they got a goal and lost 2-1. And then they ended up going into Seattle at Seattle and drew 0-0 with a .04 XG, which Jake, what does that even mean? Like they touched the ball once for XG? I don't really understand it still.
I think it might have been like a block shot or something, and it just caromed off someone and then nestled into the goalie's arms. I don't actually know what happened in that shot on goal, but it's unbelievable. I've never seen a lower XG. 0.04 is legitimately impressive. I feel like, Justin, we could maybe try.
Easy.
No, seriously, off the center half, you just boot it right to the goalie. That's going to be a .01, and we'll do that every time. We'll do it every time they score on us. We will.
All right, that's fine. I'll take it. If you could if you can get it to the goal from half, and 2, keep it on target.
I said specifically. I said you. I might.
I'll take it. We got to do a little competition one of these times. You being a goalie, we'll do like PKs and free kicks or something.
All right. Well, who are the players to watch for here? We've got 3, but definitely a couple honorable mentions as well. By the way, for everyone in here, thank you for joining. We've got a big room here of you all tuned in. Drop your questions, comments, takes below or in the chat and anywhere in the replies, and we can definitely try to save some time here to cover some of this as we get towards the end of the episode. But thank you all for being here and getting to our players to watch. Gyasi Zardes, one of those names, man. He is a polarizing figure for anyone that's a big U.S. men's national team fan. He's now 32. Obviously a big type guy. He's a striker for them. Been in the MLS for over 10 years now, which is crazy. 68 caps for the national team, which is huge. Has some good pace. Probably lacking a little bit of that as he gets into his older age, and has been known to finish better in the MLS than he has with the national team. Definitely a guy that they're going to count on this year, especially given some of their outgoings and they're just lacking in the striker department. So probably could play a role. It definitely at least is a sub in the game we're going to see here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he started and played 58 minutes for Minnesota and then subbed on for Seattle for 24 minutes. I think he's one of those guys as you get older, like you said, kind of a guy that you're going to sub in and try to get a spark plug of a goal. He's got some speed, even though he's 32. We say even though he's 32, Jake, like we're pushing 30. We can still get up and run. Tom Brady just ran a 40 faster than he did when he got drafted. The speed is still there. Let's not knock on the old guys. That's Daniel Pereira, center mid, 23-year-old Venezuelan. He is 5'9", 150 pounds. I always get these guys that are just tiny. Third season with Austin, 0 goals, 8 assists, though, with them last season, playing 32 games, starting 29 of them specifically, and having the 3rd highest minutes on the team behind 2 of the guys that we'll be talking about here in a little bit. 2 starts, playing a full 90, and then in 86 minutes in their first 2 games, and he has the 10th best carrying distance in the MLS in 2023.
Yeah, he's a baller. If anyone, I think this guy is probably one of the best players on their team. John Gallagher is the last one we have here, a 28-year-old Irishman. He's a center back, not very big, but he's a center back, right back. You might see him. I think I've looked at their last couple 11s, probably deployed more on the right. 5 goals, 8 assists last season and 31 starts of 34 games played. So great availability for this team. And he logged the 2nd most minutes in the team. So someone they really count on. He's played a big role in both their opening games so far. One name we didn't mention, Justin, is Sebastian Driussi. He is, just a couple years removed now from being, I think, either the MVP or like 2nd in voting for the MVP in the MLS. So a huge game breaker, and he is injured right now. It says late March. Who knows? We'll have to monitor the injury report to see if he somehow makes it in time for this. I'm not hearing that's the case, but he is a big time player. He is this. What did I say? He is the fifth highest paid player in the league right now. So they're counting on him both from a financial perspective and from an output perspective in G's and A's this season. So he's got to get back to health.
Jake, for a second there, it looked like you were going to cough. I would say if you needed to, grab some Soul Juice. Go to souljuice.com. Get 20% off using code BALLWATCHING. Shout out to Luis. We're expanding into St. Louis. I'm working this in as organic as this Soul Juice is. Get some. I'm going to go to the next honorable mention. I don't know how to say this guy's name. Gurimi Biru. I just liked him up because he scored their only goal so far this year, and it was the 90th +5 versus Minnesota. 23-year-old Brazilian defender. They signed him on January 9th of this year. So I was shocked to even see him in the game. Primarily a left back, but he was able to get forward, and he's one of those guys that gets up and down the wing. I don't think there's anything really to call out there. I just thought he had a cool name, and he has their only goal, so I thought we should talk about him. And I'm going to say the other one so you can take on, I'll go, Emiliano Rigioni as a right winger, 5 goals, 4 assists last season, 10th most crosses in the MLS last year. And lastly, the man that played the most minutes in the entire MLS, Mr. Brad Stuber at goalkeeper, led the MLS in saves last year with 130. Yeah, you thought that was Roman Berkey. Berkey only ended up with 123, very close. That's because we have better defense. And he played every minute in 2023.
Yeah, Stuver's a beast. Stuver is probably one of the most underrated goalies, I'd say, in the league. Who are they coached by at Austin? Josh Wolf, who is entering his 4th season with the club. He's been there since their inception. So they have had no other coaches besides him. Could be, I'd say, starting to get on a little bit of a hot seat. If I'm Josh Wolf and I'm the ownership there at Austin, you know, things started off so great, and then now they've kind of just been pretty crappy. And I'm just kind of assuming this season doesn't go great for them. But Josh Wolf is known to deploy more of a 4-3-3. That's how they've lined up so far this season. You know, his principles are around attacking soccer and playing a very positional style of play, but that can also be their demise at times. If you look at last year, they really tried to build up, and they're brave in doing so when they build up out of the back, even under intense pressure from teams like us. Obviously, look at the game last year, just even the first game, forcing them into some serious mistakes, and they were willing to try and build out of the back, and we made them pay for that. They're known to use their width pretty effectively, possess the ball a little bit more intentionally than most other teams, especially teams like us. And obviously, we've already mentioned here a couple times, but cross often. So very, very heavy on the crosses.
And I would say kind of as we move into just trends and storylines with them in general, their last 5 home games, and obviously, yes, this goes back into last season, loss, draw, win, loss. So not overly impressive there. 1.47 points per match at home in games with a +6 goal differential in total. So you look at that, I'd say it's about probably a little bit lower on the end of what you see typically for home teams, and not even a lot of them are getting closer to the 1.75, I think, on average in the MLS. Their offense specifically, an XG of 1.37 per 90 was 20th in the MLS, with a 1.41 goals per game was 12th. So looking very average offensively, but that does get a little bit better when you're looking at home with a 1.50 XG and a 28 of their 49 goals for came at home. They scored about a goal every 55 minutes.
They do. This is a good team, especially on the offensive side. Defensive we'll get to, but I'm saying good. I think like we've kind of been crapping on a little bit, but they do definitely have some threat that they carry, especially from set pieces. They were number 6 last year in set piece shots. So set pieces being your free kicks, corners, what have you. And then also on the XG side for set pieces, number 5. So they're a very effective team if you give them opportunities. I feel like we've kind of been coughing up some set piece opportunities. We talked about it in the recap last Sunday. So definitely something we need to clean up there. They're heavy into crosses. We talked about they served the 3rd most crosses in the MLS last year, the 2nd most switches. So big, long, and medium ball type team looking to definitely make you transition and move side to side and get you displaced. Finally, like I said, team is comfortable in possession. They average a 51.2 possession, number 1 in touches in their own 18 though. So getting out and progressing has been more difficult, I'd say, for them. And they do have a top 10 sequence time in buildups. So they spend time on the ball. They kind of drag their feet a little bit sometimes. It's that progression, I feel like, is where, your teams that are more of your like Barcelona style in the MLS, you might think of a team like we just played in Houston or teams like we see that are very comfortable and they make it look pretty and easy on the eye. I feel like Austin is trying to do that, but they're struggling to progress the ball. So that's the offensive side.
Yeah, and I would say they're obviously never going to make it look like Barcelona, so I'm surprised you even. No, I understand where you're going with that, but that was a little bit of a stretch there. Defense, their XGA of 1.64 per 90 was second worst in the MLS, with a 1.62 goals against per average is fourth worst. And we talked about it. Brad Stuber had the most saves in the MLS. This team just gets peppered. They can't help the man. It would be like if we had a back line that was absolutely awful and Mr. Roman Berkey had to stand back there. Imagine how many more saves Rome would have had last year if we didn't have Tim Parker stepping up in front of him. At home, it's pretty much very similar, 1.53 XGA, and with a 22 of their 55 goals against at home. So yes, they give up way more on the road, but they're still just letting teams pepper them at home, which is surprising.
Yeah, and they let teams pepper them, especially in goals at the very end of the game. So just like we had a leaky defense, I'd say in the last 15 minutes, they do as well. They allowed almost a third of their goals against at home last season, coming in the 76th to 90th minute. So something to look forward to as a City fan here. Finally, like you said, Brad Stuver, incredible goalkeeper. He was number one in saves last year. An average save percentage, but because he's being peppered and just asked to be called on constantly by this team. And because of that, he kept, the second fewest clean sheets, but nothing to his ability. I think we'll need some special stuff to get by him. Keys to the game, Justin, before we get to the 11 here. I think for me, it's a strong first half start on the road for us. They drew 47% of their first halves at home last year. I think we got to do our best to not get out of there with a draw in the first half. Start on the front foot, make them have to claw back for it, especially in the second half. Give yourself some cushion because we know that we can be a little bit leaky, especially on the road. It's going to be hard. It's our first, MLS road game. I think we have some pressure on us to really get this going because away form is crucial. We saw how great it was for us starting last year and then kind of tapered off.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at that, Austin at home was number 21 in the MLS, while our away was 8th best. That is something we need to take advantage of. And the hard thing that we need to do is make sure we don't let them score early because there has been a ton of goals between these teams, not only in the games that we played against each other, but just in general. 115 goals in City's last game. 15 goals. What do you have in this? 115 goals in City games last year. I got 4. So total, I'm following now. 104 in Austin games, so number 7, which is surprising when you think about our defenses, but that also says a lot to our offenses. 14 goals in our 2 games played between them. So when you're looking at that over/under, that is impressive. Yes, 9 occurred within that. That means 5 in the other one. Absurd.
Yeah. Corners and set pieces, another thing to think about for the club. I think we've shown a proficiency in being attacking and dangerous on those. They've shown a proficiency in the same. So I think whatever team can defend and also make the most of their chances on set pieces, I think that team will have a great advantage in this game. Attacking on the counter, we have a better XG on the counter than them as well. I think we can show to be effective there, especially with guys like Sam Adeniran just running down people's throats and you just playing a long ball and letting him take the rest from there. Last thing I'll say, Justin, before we get into the starting 11 and our goals for today for this game are, I think this is a chance for us to also possess. This is a possession team. They're not the best in doing so. Can we dispossess them, knock the ball around, take the air out of the game sometimes, offer some chances for build-up that's not just counters, and be able to, build our own alternatives to our normal strategy in games where we're going to be up against it, and they will adjust it to us.
Yep, I could not agree more. Is there anything else that we've already kind of talked about it all, and I know I'm probably jumping a little bit too soon, but I really want to get to the graphic again.
Final thing, goal for the game. Give me one goal, Justin. My goal is first half money line. You've got to be on the board in the first half.
I'm going to go no goals in the last 15 minutes of the game for us. No goals given up. Let's score 12. I don't care. But no goals given up in the last 15 minutes from the 75th all the way through the end. I'm talking regular time plus the stoppage.
Awesome. And now, until one of our favorite segments and the one that ushers in the most debate. So fire in your 11s here in the comments. Let us know what you all think here. But it's time for the Hoffman Brothers starting 11. The Hoffman Brothers starting 11, obviously brought to you by our friends at Hoffman Brothers. These guys make sure you have a potent offense and a very stingy defense on the home side. And we have quite the home side here, but my home side has been looking, and feeling a little bit underloved recently. I talked about this last time that I need to have some folks from Hoffman Brothers out here. It's been tough because I feel like this winter's going to just kind of come back here soon, but maybe it's not. We might be out of winter and spring is officially here. And like I said before, I'm not the guy that knows when to do everything and what to do even. So I need some handholding. I'm just going to come out and say it. I need a little bit of it. And even for you guys that don't, call Hoffman Brothers. They can be that second advice, that mentor along your path to becoming a handy husband, wife, friend, whatever.
I will say also, Jake, I don't know anything about this either. We already talked about the air vents last time. I'm going to talk right now about heating and cooling specifically for this. I flipped my AC on this weekend. Now my heat's back on. Something's going to go wrong with this place because I live in Shaw and this place is older than like the early 1900s. So call Hoffman Brothers for any of your needs. 314-664-3011.
All right, Justin, now let's get into it. I'm going to keep it easy. I'm rolling with the exact same 11 that we just rolled with in the last W. So I am going to go with Berkey. I'm going to go with Marcanic, Nilsson, Parker, and Totlin. And then moving up to Dirk and Leuven in my base 2. And then my front 3 with Adeniran very, very much up top is Celio, AZ, and Indy. So I'm sticking with the same exact 11 that beat New York City FC this past weekend.
I think I'm going to switch out and I'm going to start Klaus. I think he probably got a little bit of a message not starting that last game. Obviously, I think we know there's a lot of interchangeable guys that can be right below him. I love the back line and Berkey, and I love the Dirk and Leuven. I think you could possibly see, we've seen people say, is AZ more of a guy better off the bench? Maybe he needs that little spark plug shock to his system and coming off the bench and doing a little bit better there. And I don't know if you need a Celio and an AZ, both playing a full 90 or starting. So I don't know. Yeah, JT, I agree. Berkey. No, yeah. What are the odds that we're going to throw him in there? One of these games.
So, Justin, let me. We have a couple seconds here. If you're going to play Klaus, which, by the way, I'm on board for, I think you do need to play him into form. Who is coming out in that 11 that I mentioned? Sam's coming out. Do you really think that is fair from a meritocracy point of view? If you're a Carnell, this guy's carrying your team right now in goal output. Do you think it's okay to not start him? I know that he can provide impact off the bench. Don't get me wrong, but playing devil's advocate, how do you do that?
So, in my opinion, I think it's one of those things where Sam has played a ton of minutes, and yeah, yes, we got a full week off or so. I just don't want to run him into the ground this early. Like, yeah, he's good, but let's also realize this is a full season. Yes, he's hot, but it's not like he's shooting 3-pointers. He's playing a full 90 and getting these legs. He's tired. I would say I would like to see Klaus get a little bit more excitement, try to get the ball rolling a little bit. And if it's not working, put Sam in there at the 50th, 60th minute. Give him enough time to get on the ball and get warm. I don't like when we try to put these guys in like the 75th or 80th. Not a whole lot you're going to be able to do to change the game there. You might only touch the ball a couple times. So in my opinion, I just want to see, this isn't like we need to get Klaus going, but I think giving him the nod on an away game, and Sam will be fully supportive of him because Sam's a huge team guy. I think that's okay, and I think Sam will understand it, and that'll keep Sam just as hungry as well, while also boosting Klaus's confidence.
I think well defended, and I thought you might go towards putting Adeniran just at a lower position on the field like a winger, and I'm not with that either yet. And until that seems to work, I love the idea of getting into a natural rotation in this team where you can throw Klaus some games, you can throw Adeniran some games, but either way, you're able to throw the 1-2 punch and try something different, either at halftime or with 30 minutes left in the game or 20 minutes left in the game. I think that differentiator, having either one of those guys as impact players off the bench, haven't seen as much from Klaus yet off the bench, but maybe he has it, maybe he doesn't. I think they play better separately right now. And until we figure out how to get them on the same field successfully, I think that's a good way to start.
I would love to have Sam running down the left side or the right side. If we talk about it with the size of most fullbacks in the MLS, they're looking at like a 5'6", 5'8", 150 pounds. Throw Sam Adeniran next to them. Let that man run by these guys. Just literally touch it and go. And I think he could easily get some more shots and some better crosses into Klaus as well. But like you said, right now, I just don't think it's there. So there's no need to force it. Long season. It will come. Let them practice and play together. I was waiting for you to have this. Go for it.
Adam, the question I've been beckoning myself, why not start Dwyer? I think this is the game to see what he's got. I think that's a great question and a very fair question. Again, I go back to the meritocracy of it all. Marcanic, if he wants to and if he feels up to it, I think has earned the right to keep that position for now. I did like what I saw in the brief cameo from Dwyer over this past weekend. And I do think at some point he's going to get a full 90. But I do not think that is yet in this game. I do think we could probably afford to see an extended cameo from him and build up those minutes, and then eventually he will get that start. I'm all for it. We get more questions in here, more comments in here, Justin, from Duck here. For us to have a successful or great year, we need Klaus scoring goals. I fully and 100% agree with that. I don't think Sam can just take us to the promised land by himself. I think he's going to need someone else like Klaus had Nico last year, and then later in the season, like we had Adeniran. So it's going to be important to have this more, I think, by committee and more spread out to be the most successful. But Justin, predictions and Grahammer time. I'm locking in a 3-1 dub away in Austin on this one. Again, you're seeing goals as the common theme. What do you think?
I'm going with a 2-1 dub. I would love to see us get 3 goals. I do think that we score in the first half and we go up at halftime. I don't know if they'll get one next or if maybe we'll go up 2-0 and then we get punched right back in the face. But I'm going with a 2-1 dub. That's my game plan for that. And I will say, Jake, my bet specifically for this is the second half over 1.5 at -135. I think there's going to be goals in this game. I don't want to take the over 3.5 at +135. I just think that if we can get that second half, get to the second half, I don't think there's going to be a ton in the first half. I think we're going to play a little bit more conservatively on the road. Austin's not going to want to give a goal early. Might see a goal by halftime. I think both teams unload in the second half. What's your bet?
What were the odds in that one, Justin?
-135 at the second half over 1.5. Total goals, not City.
I think that's fair. I think that's a good bet. I think we saw a lot of second half, especially in the fixtures we had last year. Even I'm going with City draw no bet. I have a hard time picturing a scenario in which we return home with nothing. So my money is on obviously us winning this game, and that's at +125. But I also have the draw to be a push. So this draw no bet. If they draw, nothing happens, and if we win, I win +125 on my unit. So I'm looking forward to that. I think that gives us a little bit of coverage. I think worst case, it's a draw for us. I'd really be really bummed and disappointed in this team if we do not come out of this. This is the most winnable away game I think we might play this season.
Yeah, I will say if anybody's looking at it for Jake and I's little bet between our bets for the season, we're not going anything deeper than -150, but you can get City to tie or win at -160. So Jake's draw no bet. If we tie, it's just a push. He doesn't lose money, he doesn't win money. But if you do draw no bet, if you do double chance, then if we tie, you win your money, but it's -160, so you got to pay a little bit more there. Jake, I will say, we mentioned a lot. It's an away game. Can't really go to City Park. Where do you go? To the pitch. I'm going to be out of town for this one, unfortunately, but I already know that Jenny and team are going to kill it. It looks like it's actually going to be pretty nice here on Saturday. It's going to be 50, maybe a little rainy, so I take that back. Not that nice. That means you need to get inside. Get into a nice, comfortable spot. The pitch will make you feel nice and cozy. Get a little frozen Irish coffee. Get a bucket. Get some food. Watch City kick some butt down in Austin.
I did hear the pitch has a roof. So, I mean, not every place can say that. So you can go and be covered at the pitch and enjoy watching some City football here, Justin. Quite a preview. Anything else before you wrap up?
I got one more quick plug from a family friend as well. Not a whole lot of plugs for anything outside of Series 6, but my friend Nicole, they are doing an Arch apparel sale starting from Mr. Jordan Kyrie. We're supporting the Blues. Jordan was helpful with us. He was going to possibly come on with us when we were talking about all the stuff around for the holidays. You can get his shirt at Arch Apparel launching tomorrow, Thursday, and then we later dropping a hat. Go out and get some of that. Support my friends.
Love it. Support a friend. Support the pod. If you all liked what you're hearing, we had, I think, a record in terms of people in the room here watching this live show. So thank you all for coming out. Drop a comment. Drop a spicy hot, red hot take below if you want us to read it and comment. We try to respond or at least like everyone's messages there. But follow us on the show. We're trying to still grow here. And this fan base, I feel like, grows every single week with all momentum behind this team. So glad to be a part of it. And thank you all for tuning in. Have a fantastic rest of your week. And we'll see y'all in Austin for a fun away match here for this 2024 MLS campaign. Roll City, baby.
All for City.